Alright, what's up, fuckers? Starting off today loud, because we are doing a pretty cool car. Nissan 370Z. Kind of the big boy out of this group of cars, but the reason it's in this group is because it is a small two-door. It is a hatchback, which the other ones have not been, but who cares? It only weighs 3,300 pounds, so it's light enough to me to think that it's allowed to be in this category, since the BRZ was like 34 or something, 35, I don't fucking know. Anyways, let's go with stats on the 370Z. Really good compared to everything else on this everything else on this list. It has, on a base model, 332 horsepower, and it's a lot lower. It's like 280 torque. Anyways, really good, especially for only being 3,300 pounds. That's good. Now, usually when you hear people talking about like power to weight ratios and blah blah blah, you usually hear them talking about like a McLaren or something where it has like 500 and some odd horsepower and it only weighs 3,000 pounds and things like that. But those cars are just at a different level. So because of those, some people might think that like, oh, because your car is so much lighter than someone. Okay, for instance, my Scion TC versus Patch's Audi A6. I only have 180 horsepower. He has 350 and all-wheel drive. But I weigh about 1,000 pounds less than him. But he still smokes me any day of the week. Even though, as a lot of YouTubers have proven, driving things like McLarens and stuff like, specifically really only McLaren, they're just the fastest in the industry. When they go out and race, they can race something with their 500 horsepower up to, they can beat something with almost 900 horsepower depending on the car. They can beat demons and stuff all day long. So it's interesting to think that like so it's just different. Sure, those have so much more power, but those cars also have a lot more going for them than just weight. They got their aerodynamics, they got their dual clutch transmissions, so power means a lot more lower on the scale. It'll mean you're a lot faster. So, because we don't have dual clutches, we're not driving slippery, flat vehicles, things like that, you know. So when a car actually has more power, especially when you're at like this level of vehicle, it means a lot more, especially for things like, oh wow, no, street racing. Not that anyone really does any Fast and Furious style street racing, but it's a cool little Porsche 911. I think it's awesome. Anyways, back to the 370Z. Pretty cool car, been out for quite some time now. They haven't really done a whole lot with the exterior, but that doesn't mean it's not a good car. If you go on to Nissan's website, it'll give you all this information, blah blah blah, like 52% weight over the front wheels, 48% over the back wheels. It's got 18-inch alloy, whatever. But my favorite fact about the current generation 370Z is I just like this. It has a carbon fiber drive shaft. Now that's race car stuff. That's like properly race car. That's the only thing that's carbon fiber on the car, from what I can tell. But it's got it, and that's neat. Like, you only see that kind of stuff on really race car, track cars. And I'm not even sure cars like 01s or things like that have carbon fiber drive shafts. I don't even think they do. But it's cool that the 370Z does. So it's got pretty good power, and it's got really good weight statistics and weight ratios. It's got just the ability to turn, and then so the base model is already just a good car, and that starts at 30,000. And then if you want to go, if you got a little more cash to spend, say you really like the 370Z, you can go to the Nismo. which is Nissan's SRT, basically. It's their quick division. Anything that has a Nismo badge is the much faster version of that car. And if you get the Nismo version, it's not the biggest increase of everything. So you get from 332 horsepower to 350 horsepower, and you get like 10 extra torque. So I mean, more is still more, and that's cool, but I'm pretty sure that it costs like 50 grand for the Nismo, so it's a lot. But so sorry, there's this Golf GTI that is just doing his goddamn best to zip through traffic. Where was I? Oh yes, the Nismo. So you get a little bit extra power, you get a little extra torque. But where the Nismo shines is it gets things like massive brakes, massive 4-piston brakes up front, and I think it only gets like 2-piston brakes in the back, but that's kind of common for this kind of car. Things like that's how like a Honda Civic Type R works. They get the big brakes up front, slightly smaller brakes in the back. It gets like a little front splitter and red cladding on the outside. I believe it gets like a little red ducktail and stuff like that. And it gets a better exhaust, which is actually where I think most of its power comes from. It gets full like H-pipe, which that's another one that does help a lot. You won't see the most horsepower gains, but you'll have a much happier engine if you do things like headers, or if you're driving an older car like an aluminum intake or something like that, just something to help open up your engine and let it breathe. It'll allow it to do things like actually get slightly better gas mileage and slightly better power. So even though it's not totally up there on the top of the list of power mods, it's still nice when it's done. And sadly, I haven't heard a comparison between 370Z and a Nismo next to each other, but I assume the Nismo sounds better, right? I mean, it's the top one. Now, this car actually stacks up very, 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 very well against a BRZ. At 30 grand, you get more power. I mean, really more power. You just get a faster car. But with the BRZ, when you hit 30 grand, I believe it's 32 when you get to the TS version, you get the heavily upgraded aero and stuff like that. And to get those things, you have to go a little bit more on the Nissan. So if you want a really cool Japanese little sports car, maybe we'll go of the medium of the little. I would definitely say BRZ and 370Z are two very good options if you just can't drive a car with 200 horsepower and call it a sports car, which there might be some people out nowadays like that, because so many kids and stuff that have grown up in this last little time that are now adults, 200 horsepower, that's nothing. I mean, you can pay like 30 grand, like 25, 30 grand and get a 300 horsepower Mustang. Even less if you get a used one. You can probably buy a used GT for 30 grand, and that's 400 and some odd ponies, for 426, 427, something like that. So it's getting harder and harder to justify buying these cars, but the Nissan makes a much better case for itself. Oh, one extra fact that I actually like about the Nissan is the 370Z, and all of these that have ever come before it, that is its engine displacement. It has a 3.7 liter 6-cylinder. I didn't know that. My friend told me about that the other day, and I found that to be a very, very interesting little quirk. That's really cool, to be honest. That I never knew where its number came from, but it actually means something. So that's gonna do it, guys. As always, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see all of you in the next video, which tomorrow will be the Audi TT. So, as always, have a good day.